Not too long ago, I was in Austin on a couple of bills, and it was interesting because there was one representative in particular, James Talarico. He seems to be the advocate for the LGBTQ, trans, whatever it is, agenda. Yeah. He seems to be their spokesman.
You mentioned Representative Talarico. I believe he's from the Georgetown area.
Yes.
So what you'll get to see is you'll see someone explaining how they have not been able to see their son for 6 months, and they can't get any help, and they can't afford a lawyer, and the state needs to change these laws. And you'll see some smirking gremlin like Talarico, literally enjoying the pain of other human beings. Yeah. He is so anti-family that he'll do that. Now, this guy voted against the shared parenting bill. So here's my question. Where are our lobby groups putting up billboards showing gay couples that now can't get shared custody and divorce?
Yeah.
He voted against even gay people getting equal custody.
Yeah.
You know, one of the problems is that we have a rhetorical problem in the way that we approach politics. Yeah. We think of it as a policy debate. Yeah. But when you meet a Neanderthal cretin like Representative Talarico, you realize that what you're dealing with are people that are truly committed to the destruction of the family, and there's no reasosoning with these people.
So let me.
That's very helpful.
Yeah, no, it bothered me a lot of times, and I'm going to tell you a little bit in front of him. I never called him the same things that you did, but I respect you exactly what you're saying. But the thing that I saw was this: we're up there giving testimony, and he's texting on his phone.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're up there giving testimony. He walks out. Yeah. So what I consider to be probably one of the most important bills that the legislature would contemplate, we had 3 members that were listening to us from this one committee, and that was Chairman Dutton. There was one other person.
Neal, wasn't it? Representative Neal?
I'm not sure. I don't remember right offhand, but also Representative Kalani. Now, Representative Kalani and I have deep philosophical differences, deep differences, I think, across the board. I was appreciative of her interrogating me because it gave me the opportunity to fight back. But she was there. Yeah.
She's fair.
Yeah. And I don't mind that because, but Talarico, I'm sorry, Representative Talarico, when I was testifying one time, I think he went out of the room to go get Chairman Dutton, like, to come in here and rein this guy in.
I think he left when I was talking about James because he couldn't stop laughing at how my son is being abused. Yeah. I think he's that scummy. Yeah. I'll go even further than this. The Talarico is the guy that packed that room with transgender people.
I know that.
And all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he disrupted that to the point where it was impossible to get any kind of rational debate going.
Yeah, and what he did, so there was the one bill I testified on that I had no intention of testifying on. There were actually 2 bills that had to deal with the transgender issue. And the reason I testified for one, I was for it because I said Matthew Krause is here, Jeff Leach is on this one. Okay, I'm on this one too because I know these 2 people. I like them. I'll back them up. Well, as long as I'm down here, I might as well say something that I'm going to back him up. And that's when he spent, I think it was 45 minutes talking about this craziness of the transgender issue. And then the second time down there, as you mentioned, there was another bill that was presented, and they had transgender, homosexual, lesbian, transgender get up there to testify against the bill. It was so scripted, so many of them, that at that point I said the same thing. I'm going out there to register only because I want to support this one guy, and just to say there is some resistance to this. Yeah. But you're right. I mean, the moment I saw him, and I hate to say this because I don't want to read things into people, you're always trying to assume. I try to assume the best, even though I sometimes may not think that.
I don't. Not with elected officials.
Yeah. But I thought this is just.
So when I hear somebody say, he's Harvard educated, right? I go, our Texas schools weren't good enough for Talarico. Talarico had to go to some left-wing Yankee school and come down here to tell us yokels how to live.
Well, let me tell you though that James Talarico told me that he too was a Christian and that we were not too far apart on this one issue. And I thought, here's what he did to me. I was testifying and Chairman Dutton said to him, "Do you have a question for Mr. Morgan?" And
Right.
he didn't have a question. He waited till I sat down, and then he said, "But I do have a comment." And that's when he apologized to the chamber about my hateful, bigoted remarks that in 50 years we will find these to be rather. And I thought, you know what, you little chicken, you coward, spineless thing. Why did you say that to me? Were you afraid because you knew I was going to oppose you?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Sorry for any
I think, Representative, okay, no comment.
sorry for any
Okay,
confusion. That
that's all right.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I had a comment, not a
All
question.
right,
Is that
sure,
allowed?
sure.
No, I just wanted to just personally apologize to any trans folks in the crowd or parents of trans kids who had to listen to some I think misguided and backwards ideas that I personally found offensive. I appreciate that everyone has an opportunity to come speak at the committee, but I think 50 years from now we'll look back at some of the words that are spoken here and feel pretty ashamed.
Well, I appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
But anyway,
course.
that's completely off topic here.
So he derailed. So Representative Neal introduced very reasonable legislation that would restrict sex change surgeries on children.
Yeah.
And say you can't do it until you're 18 years old.
Yeah.
Right. Just like smoking or getting a tattoo.
Yeah.
And Talarico is the one who derailed all that.
Yeah. He is the leader, as far as I am concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Youngest representative in the state of Texas right now, but he is the leader of the LGBTQ agenda.
No question.
And that is his base.
And he should be target number one for us.
He should be target number one.
And we should think about how we should message against him, how we should take votes from him. For one thing, he obviously isn't aware that gay couples are getting divorced now, and that shared parenting is an issue for them.
Right.
And we should wedge him. We should go after him, because he's stupid. He doesn't understand the issues. Obviously.
Yeah, and that's the, when you're given 2 minutes to try to explain something to these people that don't understand the issues, it is almost.
Your best bet is to bring in some prepared materials and then do your 2 minutes summarizing it.
Yeah. I've got you, and yeah, I hear you, but it's.
But you know what? There's a lot of Republicans that are weak on this issue too.
Very weak.
So we had an amendment that we had a sponsor who's going to offer an amendment to the Texas medical licensing bill.
Mm-hmm.
And we were going to say that, look, anybody that performs a sex change surgery on a child under 18 could lose their medical license.
Mm-hmm. And they should.
Absolutely. That was blocked by our lieutenant governor.
Dan Patrick?
That's correct.
Is that right?
That is correct. Do you know that Dan Patrick blocked the heartbeat abortion bill as well?
I did not know that. What has happened to him? He used to be, the
He was never. Obviously, you don't suddenly change.
Yeah.
It means he was never really with us on these issues.
Yeah.
Here's the story I'm getting told by the Texas GOP,
Mm-hmm.
and believe me, Wade Emmerich runs away from me. I'm at war with the Texas GOP and have been for a long time.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is they're saying, look, Ted Cruz had so much trouble getting elected. And the main reason, and the reason Matt Rinaldi lost his seat, was we've lost the suburban female vote.
I think I had a different approach to that. I hear what you're saying.
That's what they're saying. I'm saying what they're saying.
Okay. My thought was this. Number one, Ted, I don't think was really in any danger of losing.
Me either.
But.
And I'm kind of mad at him because, frankly, he phoned it in that election. Yeah. He didn't fight the way he should have.
He should not have fought, and that's why we lost so many people.
Yeah.
And there were some other things that he did. Look, I was in the Santorum campaign in 2012 and 2016. Yes. I was privy to some stuff that was going on, and it wasn't. I'll just say I was privy to it. I'm not saying where it came from or anything. It wasn't coming from Rick, but I did see a lot of things that happened.
Yeah.
And I thought that the way that Senator Cruz, who I voted for, acted, really allowed Beto to run a campaign.
Agreed.
And Beto's, and I've met Beto. He's been very, very personable. I mean, you'd like the guy. But the thing is that he knew I don't know, maybe he thought he could have won, but he helped to knock off a lot of conservatives in the cities.
He did.
In Dallas in particular.
Yep.
Both representatives and senators that nobody would have ever thought would have lost, Matt Rinaldi being one of them.
Yep.
But anyway. that's a different issue.
So national Republicans, state Republicans are really worried about the female vote, and they, for some reason, think that if you oppose transgender abuse, what I call transgender child abuse,
Yeah.
if you oppose that, that's going to lose you the female vote, and that's the story that we've been given consistently.
Yeah. And that's a completely false narrative.
And Dan Patrick, disrupted the heartbeat abortion bill for the very same reason.
So I was not aware of that. I didn't
Yes.
follow that one.
Yes.
Yeah, there were a lot of things that were surprises to me.
But
And things that were disappointments that I thought.
I do think we need to come to grips with something, though. We need to talk. Look, we need to have real conversations with each other as conservatives.
Yeah.
You know, the Republican Party is merely a vehicle for conservative ideas. What's
Right.
important are conservative ideas.
Right.
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 So, most of the Republican clubs in the counties are women's groups, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
In Denton County, it's Denton County Women's Republic. You can't even,
Coppell,
as a male, be on the board of these
Yeah.
clubs, right? So there's this weird exclusion of men from the Republican clubs that we need to end.
Yeah.
We need to end that.
Yeah.
The second thing is we have to be honest. There's John Lott, who did all the gun statistics.
Mm-hmm.
He's also done a great analysis of voting patterns after suffrage.
Mm-hmm.
Women have always been a very unreliable vote
Mm-hmm.
for conservative issues.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to be honest about that. And if we're going to have Women's Republicans Club,
Mm-hmm.
their main job has to be outreach to women.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they've obviously, in Dallas County, they have totally failed.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
75% of women in Dallas County who voted for Democrats, where it was 50-50 before.
Yeah. I will say though too that when it comes down to some of the funding for the GOP and some of the people that have been very strongly committed, I've found have been some of the women have been more strongly committed than the men.
That's true. And we were just talking about Phyllis Schlafly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you just don't get better than her, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you really don't.
Yeah.